You may have always been the black sheep in your family, the one who everybody looks at, the one who's always targeted, the one who is always condemned for everything they do. They're the least favorite child. You are the one who is always being called weird growing up, whether it's been in school or at home, like outside with your friends, with your peers rather, not your friends. But you were just always being called different. You always felt different. You always knew that there was something on your life, but the way that make people made you feel, that it was always like a bad thing. Like I said, you were always the black sheep. You were always the one being talked about in the worst way. You were always made to feel like you were different or weird. I'm going to read you something. This is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. It says, "But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." Even God calls us a peculiar people. Different. But the way that the world will make you feel is that you being different is a bad thing. When all reality, you're not different, you're just set apart. You are going to break generational curses in your family. Some of it may already be happening. You may be the first one to finish high school or college, the first person to have a successful business, the first person to get married through in generations and generations. You may be the first one to do that. That is just the beginning of what God has planned for your life when he has set you apart. You have always felt different. I know, like growing up, I always felt like, so I never felt like the black sheep in my family per se, but as like in terms of friends and peers and people around me, I was always the like the ugly duckling, or the one who was weird, the one who was, everybody was kind of like, let's get away from her. Like I remember specifically an instance in school when I had to be in like first or second grade, but this has always stuck with me. I remember I had brought some lunch, and I think my grandma had made me like tuna or something like that, something where kids are like, ew, ew, like. And I remember having to, first off, I was already the only black girl in the school that I went to, me, my sister rather, and one other girl. So I was one of the only black kids at the school. It was like three of us. Not only was I already set apart sort of in that way, but then when I came to school with that lunch one day, the kids literally had their own little side conversations, and one of the girls got up the courage to say, could you please like sit down there at the end of the table down there, because we don't want to smell that. Mind you, we're like first and second grade, and there I was, scooted all the way down to the end of the table, the only black kid, and everybody else was down there eating. So I literally have been set apart or made to feel like I was different and weird for a very long time. I had gotten so used to it, but in a negative sense. I was always made to feel like different was a bad thing. But here in the Lord's word, it literally tells you that we are a peculiar people. People are not always going to understand you. There are people who are going to ridicule you, who are going to comment on the way that you speak, the things that you do, the things you talk about. I have been called all type of names, even just being on this platform. Like people in the comment section telling me that they can't stand me, that I'm a false prophet, that I'm this and I'm that, and what you're talking about isn't right, and that's weird, and that's this. And listen, again, like I have said in one of my other videos, it does not matter what people call you, but who does God say you are? Who does Jesus tell you that you are to him? It doesn't matter what any of these people say. If you've ever been made to feel like you are different, but in the worst way, even, and it could be you doing things in the worst way. It could be that you are the black sheep of the family because maybe you're on drugs, or maybe you're an alcoholic, or maybe you did something bad and the family kind of cast you out. Do you understand that the devil is going to come at you the hardest because you are chosen for something great? To them, to the naked eye, it looks like he's different because he chooses to be different. He or she chooses to do drugs, or they choose to be, go outside of the family's will and what we would normally like to have done. But that doesn't matter to God. You are set apart for a reason. So you have to use that as fuel. When you know that you are headed down like a path that you shouldn't be headed down, and you are separated, use that as fuel for God to renew you and refine your life, because he has something great for you. You are set apart so you can do wonders, so you can do a great work. God is going to use you to do a great work. He's going to have you out here breaking generational curses that you never thought would be broken. Ever. So don't listen to people when they tell you that you are different and you're weird. No, tell them I'm set apart. That's what I am. I'm a peculiar people because that's what God called me to be. But that's it for this video. I hope this video motivated somebody to, if you are feeling very alone right now, that's a good thing. Because guess what? God can do his best work on you when you are set apart and alone with him. But I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.